Up, everybody? This is Investor Shake back at it again with another video. And today I'm here to talk about Zoya, which is an app that is recommended for those who want to have a halal portfolio. Basically, this app gives you an overview of all the stocks in the market and determines whether or not the stock is Sharia compliant. That's normally what we would mean by a halal stock. Normally, one of the things that we look at these stocks is, let me pull up Apple as an example. One of the things that they look at is whether the company has a lot of debts, a lot of interest that is being formed, as well as if it has high liquidity or storing lots of cash that can be used to invest in the company. In the case of Apple, it is questionable in terms of its compliance status. And the reason for that is because 18% of its revenue comes from services that may include questionable content. Now, the app doesn't go really deep into this because, again, the information that they obtain is from the 10K. And 10K doesn't really go that deep into where the money is being spent. So it's kind of hard to gauge whether every dollar spent is halal or not. So that's why a good chunk of Apple's revenue is questionable. And then another issue is the interest income. Right now it's at about 2%, which is small. But normally, when it comes to analyzing a stock, if a company were to spend 5% of its revenue on non-halal activities, that would deem it a non-compliant stock. And in terms of the financials, Apple does look good, has low liquidity, and doesn't have that much debt. But it is understandable for companies to have debt because in the long run, that debt will be used to invest into the company, and soon enough, if things are going good for that company, they will be profitable. Now, I want to give you an example of stocks that are Sharia compliant and non-compliant. A pretty good example of a compliant stock is, believe it or not, Tesla. Tesla has been on a tear this year, and it is indeed one of the most popular stocks to own in the stock market, given its bright future in the EV phase and even much more. You never know. So it is Sharia compliant, and if you look at the full report here, a good majority of its revenue is compliant. And the financials look good here. They don't have that much debt, they don't have too much cash on the sidelines. And really, this is a good example of a company that is halal compliant. And if you want to add Tesla, by all means go right ahead. This stock has a bright future ahead of itself, and it's good knowing that it is a Sharia compliant stock. As a halal investor, this is a stock I would recommend to add, although some people may say it's a bit overvalued. But you gotta look at the bigger picture. Where do you see this stock in 10 or 20 years? Now, if you see it being big, by all means, put $100 into Tesla if you have the opportunity to purchase fractional shares. And now I want to give you an example of a company that is non-Sharia compliant. And this may seem controversial, but it actually makes sense once I explain it even further. Now, this company is called Altria, ticker symbol MO. This is the tobacco company that is known for manufacturing Marlboros and other cigarettes. And they also hold a stake in Juul, which is the e-cigarette that has been popular amongst millennials and Gen Z. And that has been pretty controversial as well, given the fact that kids are getting access to this stuff. And, Juul has been losing billions of dollars, so Altria got the shorter end of the stick there. But all in all, this is a tobacco company, and this is a popular stock amongst dividend investors because they pay $3.32 per share, which is a pretty high yield given the fact that it's only $41 a share. Now, this is a popular stock amongst dividend investors, but based on the compliance status, it is non-compliant. And the reason being is that 100% of its revenue is considered Sharia non-compliant due to the fact that it's from smokable products. Although one may question whether or not cigarettes, tobacco is haram. I see a lot of Muslims smoke cigarettes, but that's another discussion for another day. But another issue is they have a lot of debt, 41% in interest-bearing debt. This company has a lot of debts, and it's a major issue regardless of whether or not you're a halal investor or not. Any company that has a lot of debt is to be seen as questionable. It's okay to question a company that has a lot of debt because it can be concerning, and it's okay to be concerned. So this is an example of a non-compliant stock. And before I forget, this app gives you a pretty thorough look at a certain stock. Not only do you get to see the chart performances over time, this 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and 2 years. Although in some other platforms you may see graphs that extend to 5 years or even when the stock was first incepted. As you may see in Google, you will literally see how much the stock was back in like the 20th century. But yeah, looking at Altria, it has been on a long-term decline this past 2 years, which is also a concern for dividend investors because companies like this that have a high yield, they tend to have a long-term decline. So it's possible that the losses that you may be experiencing can be returned to you in the form of a dividend, but that's another discussion as well. So upon looking at the app, you get the full report as to why the stock is halal or not. You get some news articles that are updated. You get key stats such as the market cap, dividend, the 52-week highs and lows, PE ratio, and the earnings per share. And then in the bottom, they give you a concise description of the company. And it says that Altria operates through the following segments: smokable products, smokeless products, and wine. Obviously with wine, it's haram, but that's also the reason why all of its revenue is non-compliant. So all in all, this stock is a great resource for those that wish to have a halal portfolio. And honestly, regardless of whether you're Muslim or not, this is a great tool because it provides you digestible information from a company. Now, you could read 10Ks from the investor websites from these companies, but the fact that this app and its developers have taken the time to go through the 10Ks of every company to display them in a user-friendly format is a stock worth downloading. It's an app worth downloading, So if I were you, I would add this app into your finance folder in your phone and try to take a look at it from time to time. Just try to get some information on the company itself before you make the decision to invest in it. Now, there is a free and a full version of the app, and the full version allows you to look at the compliance report in detail, as I showed you earlier. With the free version, you wouldn't have that option. So if I were to look at this stock right here, in the free version, you would not have access to the full report. You will only be told whether this stock is halal or not. Now, with that being said, this is the Zoya app. This is the app that I use before I decide to invest in stocks. I suggest you do the same. This is Investor Shake, checking out.